Hello, friends. My name is Shraddha Jaiswal, and I'm the senior verbal expert with GMAT. Today, I'm going to show you how to solve difficult official questions that primarily deal with verb ing modifier in this YouTube live session. All right, so let's quickly take a look at the goals of this session. Now, in this session, the primary goal is to show you the application of one unified approach, which we call at EGMAT meaning-based approach or EGMAT three-step meaning-based approach to solve 700 plus level questions. And this approach not only works on the modifiers questions, but every single question that we may come across. So we will solve all the questions in this session using this approach. Now, before we get into the questions, let's take a look at the concept. Let's quickly recap the concept. Now, verb ing modifiers. Modifiers itself is a very tricky concept, and in that we have a lot of divisions, and verb ing modifiers continues to be a very difficult sort of modifiers, but basically they are not. So let's just understand what these modifiers can do. Now, verb ing modifiers can be used to modify either noun entities, or they can be used to modify actions. Probably that's why they appear to be so difficult, because they can modify both these entities. Now, as a noun modifier, verb ing modifiers just present some extra description about the noun that they modify. Now, what about action? When it comes to action modification, we actually see that the modifier modifies the modified action by describing the modified action, or by presenting the result of this modifier. Right? When I say describing, we can again divide it into further classifications. In describe, the modifier can modify the modified action by presenting the generic description of that action, or by presenting explicit information, which is the how aspect of that action. So this is our broader categorization of verb ing modifiers. And actually, the verb ing modifiers, they are part of our free trial. So definitely make use of that and go through this concept in details in our free trial course. Also, let's get into the details now of the verb ing modifiers. As a noun modifier, as we already said, what it does, the verb ing modifiers modifies the noun. It provides some description. So one thing we must always keep in mind is that whenever we are using a modifier, we must keep three aspects in mind. The first is that it must make sense. The second is it must be placed correctly. And third, there should be no ambiguity whatsoever in the modification. Okay, so here, if I take a look at my first sentence, wearing a black shirt, Joe played with the puppy. So here we have the verb ing modifier at the beginning of the sentence, wearing a black shirt. And who wears that black shirt? Joe. So the sentence says that Joe was wearing a black shirt while he played with the puppy. So here the sentence is making sense, the modifier is making sense, it is placed correctly right in the beginning of the sentence and connects correctly with the subject, and there is no ambiguity in what this modifier describes. Okay. Let's take a look at the second sentence. Now, the second sentence conveys exactly the same meaning, but we have changed the structure slightly. What we have done is we have moved this opening modifier in between the subject and the verb, and we have enclosed it between two commas. This is another way of using the noun modifier, especially in case of a subject where we place this modifier between the subject and the verb, the meaning still remains the same even with this structural error. And again, if you see all the three aspects, making sense, the placement, and the clarity of the modification, all three are intact in this sentence as well. Let's take a look at the third example. Joe played with the puppy wearing a black collar. Here, the verb ing modifier wearing a black collar is modifying the preceding noun puppy. So this is another structural thing with verb ing modifier. There is actually no comma between the noun that it modifies. So this is another way of writing this. This is how we use the noun modifier when we place it exactly after the noun that it is meant to modify. So once again, in this structure also, the sentence makes absolute logical sense. The modifier is placed correctly because it is placed right after puppy, the noun that it is meant to modify, and there is no ambiguity whatsoever in the usage of this modifier. So this is about verb ing modifiers working as a noun modifier. Next, we will take a look at the usage of verb ing modifiers as action modifiers. We've already classified that as a verb ing action modifier. This modifier can either present a generic description of the modified entity, the modified action, or it can present the how aspect of the modified action, or it can present the result of the modified action. Now we will take a couple of examples in each of this category. So the first example, number 4 and 5, these are the examples of the sentences in which the comma plus verb ing modifier presents the generic description, or let's say logical extension of the modified action. Amy skipped school. So Amy skipped school, giving the excuse of stomachache. So this sentence presents that Amy skipped school and she did so by giving the excuse of stomachache. Same goes with the startup closed all its operations. And what is how does it logically extend that idea? The startup closed all its operation and it cited political instability as the primary reason. So here we see a couple of examples in which the comma plus verb ing modifier presents the generic explanation about the modified action. Now let's take a look at the couple of examples that talk about the how aspect. Okay, so here we have arranging rare exotic flowers in a symmetric pattern. Mary made a beautiful bouquet. How did Mary made a beautiful bouquet? By arranging rare exotic flowers in a symmetric pattern. So a very quick check to see whether this sentence is correct or not, what we can do, or let me put it this way. Another way to write this very sentence is we replace this full stop with comma and place this entire modifier at the end of the clause. Let me rephrase that. So what we can do is we can say Mary made a beautiful bouquet by arranging rare exotic flowers in a symmetric pattern. So in both these cases, either we place this modifier right after this sentence by putting a comma before arranging, or we say Mary made a beautiful bouquet by arranging rare exotic flowers in a symmetric pattern. In both these structures, the comma plus verb ing modifier or the by verb ing modifier will modify the how aspect, right? So basically when we say Mary made a beautiful bouquet by arranging rare exotic flowers is just the extension, or it's just the extended version of the very same sentence. Same goes with the Sam sentence. Sam mesmerized everyone present in the room. How? By singing a beautiful song. So here we have placed the modifier in the beginning of the sentence. We can place this modifier at the end of the sentence as well, or after the main clause. Okay, let's take a look at the result. Okay, Mary made a beautiful bouquet, winning accolades from everyone. So here the comma plus verb ing modifier presents the result of the action done by Mary. She made a beautiful bouquet, and as a result, she won accolades from everyone. Same goes with the BP sentence. BP Corporation drilled deep sea oil wells, and as a result, it destroyed the coral reefs. The same idea, the result has been presented in the sentence with the use of comma plus verb ing modifier. All right. So all these 6 examples, there are a few common themes in all of this. And the first and foremost thing that we see is that there is no ambiguity in the meaning whatsoever. In all these sentences, the comma plus verb ing modifier modifies the action. And the meaning of the sentence is very, very clear. So that's our first criterion that we must keep in mind while using a comma plus verb ing modifier, that it should clearly modify the action. The next criterion that we must keep in mind is that the doer of the modified action and the doer of the modifier action must be the same. If you take a look at all these sentences, you will see that the doer of the modified action and the doer of the modifier action are the same. Let's take this example, singing a beautiful song. Sam mesmerized everyone. Who did the action of mesmerizing? Sam did it. How did he do so? He did so by singing a song. So the doer of this action and the doer of this action are the same. It is Sam. So this is another criteria to keep in mind while using the comma plus verb ing modifier correctly in the sentence. Next, when we use the comma plus verb ing modifier to present the result, we must be aware of the sequence in which it is presented. Okay, so in case of description and in case of how aspect, what happens is that we can place the modifier even before the modified action. The modifier can come before the clause also. But when we are using the comma plus verb ing modifier to present the result, in that case, the structure has to be the clause, then the comma, and then the verb ing modifier to keep that sequence intact, because first the cause happens and then the result happens, right? So when we use comma plus verb ing modifier to present the result, this sequence must be maintained. Okay, so these are few points that we must keep in mind while using verb ing modifiers as action modifiers. Now let's understand the application of verb ing modifiers as a whole in GMAT SC questions. There are few things, as I said, that you must keep in mind. First and foremost, the modifier must make sense with the modified entity, no matter which entity it is modifying. It must be placed correctly in the sentence to present that logical modification, and there should be no ambiguity in the modifier whatsoever. Okay, so very, very important aspects to keep in mind. Now, most of the times, students ask that how to understand whether verb ing modifier has been used to present, to modify a noun or an action. The answer to that question is, it is the context of the sentence. You must read the sentence very well, extract the logical intended meaning, and then you decide whether in the context of the given sentence, whether it will make sense for the verb ing modifier to modify a noun or to modify an action. And that is why focusing on the logical intended meaning of the sentence is so very important. Doing this action not only helps us understand the intended logical meaning, but it also lets us know whether the grammar used in the sentence is correct or not, because grammar at the end of the day is just the tool to present that logic. So it is very, very important to understand the logical intended meaning of the sentence to understand the role of a given modifier. Okay. Well, that stands true for every entity, but because we are talking about verb ing modifiers, we'll stick to that. Once again, let me bring to your attention that this very apparently very complex modifier actually features in our free trial. So make sure that you go through it. Here is the link. You can click on the access button and straight away get to the free trial course. You can read all about these modifiers over there with lot many application, with lot many example sentences and pre-assessment and post-assessment quiz to check your to understand your understanding basically of this particular modifier. Similarly, we have when you go to free trial, you can also access the free lessons in critical reasoning, number properties, reading comprehension, so on and so forth. So this free trial is only available till Saturday, January 16. So make sure that you make good use of this opportunity of learning through the free trial course. You know, it's just the trailer of what GMAT really gives you out there. So make sure that you make good use of it. Okay, with this, now let's proceed to our next part of the session, where we are actually going to solve OG questions. And these questions are difficult questions. So yes, we'll solve 4 of them, as you can see on your screen. Again, do not put your responses in the chat box. We will provide you forms, Microsoft form links for each and every question. Please put in your responses there. And I will give you 2 minutes to solve each and every question. So once 2 minutes are over, I will start the discussion. I'll definitely give a 30-second countdown. In the sense, I'll just give a reminder that we have just 30 seconds left to finish this. So make sure that you come back to this session after you are done putting your response in the Microsoft forms within 2 minutes. So solve these questions within 2 minutes. Okay, so with this, let's just get ready. And here, your first question going to appear on your screen. That's your first question. In the chat box, you can see the link coming up. And let me set my timer for you over here. 2 minutes, and your time starts now. All right, last 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, let's begin the discussion of this question. I'm sure that most of you are back after finishing this one. So let's take a look at the, so this is what we call eGMAT 3-step process. The first step of this process is to understand the intended logical meaning of the sentence. We do not worry about anything. We don't look at the answer choices at this stage. We only concentrate on the given sentence. And why do we do so? The original sentence is the only basis for us to understand what the author wants to communicate to us through this sentence. So, as I always say, that every SC sentence is a story in itself. It has everything inside it for you to be able to understand what the author needs to communicate. It's just that we have to take that step to understand and extract all the meaning from it. So let's do that. So this sentence talks about surface of Mercury. What does it say? In 1974, a large area of the surface of Mercury was photographed from varying distances. Pretty easy to understand. Nothing too difficult here to understand. Then it says, which revealed a degree of cratering similar to that of the moon. So the sentence is saying that the surface of the Mercury was photographed in 1974. The photographs thus attained showed extent of cratering that has been compared with the cratering of the moon. So this sentence also presents the comparison between the cratering on the surface of moon and the cratering on the surface of Mercury. So this is what the sentence is trying to tell us. Now, if I am to ask this question, hey, is the author presenting the meaning clearly through this sentence? Yes. The meaning is very, very clear from the way the sentence is written. However, now that we have understood that the meaning is very clear, we are done with our first step. Now, the second step is to figure out if the sentence is grammatically correct. And so let's move on to that part. Let's ask ourselves, is the usage of this which, and let me get my pen real quick over here. Is the use of this which modifier correct over here? Well, we know that which is a noun modifier just like that, and they're modifying the preceding noun, right? So in this case, if which has been used, it means that it is saying, the way the sentence is written, it's saying that it is the varying distances that revealed a degree of cratering on the surface of Mercury. Now, is this information really logical? Well, that is not true. It is not varying distances that revealed a degree of cratering. It is the photographs that were taken, they revealed the degree of cratering on the surface of moon. But the thing to understand in this sentence is that photographs as such, photograph, this word, or photographs, is not there in this sentence. So we have to work with this sentence. We'll have to look at the answer choices to figure out the correct answer choice. But we know for sure that the usage of which is definitely not correct. This modifier has not been used correctly in this sentence. Another thing that we can analyze in this sentence is the usage of that of the moons. Now, what does that of the moons stand for? It stands for, so that of already stands for a degree of cratering, right? A degree of cratering. So when we expand this entire phrase over here, that of the moons, where moons have been used with apostrophe, what does it say? a degree of cratering of moon's cratering. So that's the meaning that it will give with the usage of this particular expression, moons in possessive form. So of course this expression is not correct, because we can say that it is in a way redundant, because the possessive has been used 2 times in this particular expression, that of the moons. So that is also off. So these are the 2 grammatical errors that we have identified in our original sentence. The meaning is clear. The meaning is absolutely fine. We understand what the author wants to communicate, but these are the 2 grammatical errors that needs to be fixed in this sentence. After we have done this level of analysis with our original sentence, we have already taken care of one answer choice over here, which is choice A. However, we have also figured out the framework to move on with other 4 answer choices. Anything with which will not work. If the sentence is using that of the moons, that's a wrong expression. We just need either that of the moons or similar to moons, right? One possessive expression. So we already understand, how our correct answer choice should look like. With this, when I proceed on to look at my answer choices, choice A is definitely incorrect, as we have seen. Choice B is also incorrect. Why? Because of the, okay, let me get my pen here. Because of the usage of to reveal. What is the sentence saying? The surface of Mercury was photographed to reveal, as if the intent is there, that there was a particular purpose behind photographing the surface of the Mercury. But that is not what the original sentence says. It doesn't say that. So definitely we have a meaning distortion in choice B. Another error that we see here is that a degree of cratering similar to the moon. What is this sentence comparing? It is comparing a degree of cratering with the moon. It is not comparing cratering of the degree of cratering of Mercury with the degree of cratering of the moon, right? So again, we see this grammatical error in choice B. So choice B is definitely out. Choice C is actually the correct answer choice over here, revealing a degree of cratering similar to that of the moon. Let's talk about this answer choice. This answer choice is using comma plus verb ing modifier, right? It is using comma plus verb ing modifier. If we look at the structure, we see that there is a clause, and then we have comma, and then the verb ing modifier. So somebody asked this question, that when we see a comma plus verb ing modifier after the clause, does it modify the entire preceding clause, or does it modify the action in the clause? Now, if you come to think about this point, both the points are the same. Why? Because when we say that it modifies the entire preceding clause, what is a clause? A clause is a string of words that contains both subject and verb, right? And when we were recapping our verb ing concepts, we said that when we use comma plus verb ing modifier, the modifier action must logically associate with the subject or the doer of the modifier action. We said that, right? Why it has to happen? Because again, a little grammar thing over here is that revealing presents an action, and every action has to have a doer, right? So because of this connection that every action has to have a doer, the comma plus verb ing modifier associates with the subject of the modified action. So here again, the action has been modified, and it is logically connecting with the subject also. So it is in a way modifying the clause. So it's the same thing. If we say that the comma plus verb ing modifies the preceding action, or the comma plus verb ing modifier modifies the preceding clause. It's the same thing, because the modifier has to logically modify the action and has to also connect with the doer of the modified action. Okay, so use of this modifier is correct. Why? Because the sentence is now saying that the surface of Mercury was photographed, and because the surface was photographed, it revealed a degree of cratering similar to that of Moon. This expression has also been used correctly in the sentence. Okay, so here comma plus verb ing modifier has been used to present the result of the preceding action. Because the surface of the Moon, Mercury was photographed from different distances, it revealed a degree of cratering. So choice C is the correct answer. Choice D is again incorrect, because we see the usage of and revealed. And with the usage of this and revealed, that connection between the main action in the sentence and the action revealed, that connection is lost. So choice D is distorting the meaning of the sentence. Okay, so these, so this structural change in choice D, we saw that in choice B as well. These structural changes are actually changing and distorting the original meaning, the original intended meaning, and hence we can reject them on that basis. Okay, and of course, then we have the same comparison error that we saw in choice B. The cratering has been compared with the Moon and not with the cratering of the Moon. So that's the problem. Choice E, those who rejected choice A, you should have rejected choice E as well, because here what we see is which has been replaced by that, but it still is a noun modifier and it still ends up modifying varying distances. We don't want this modification because it makes no sense, and hence choice E is out. Choice between A and E, A has two errors. Choice E corrects the comparison error, but it retains the same modifier error, and hence choice E is incorrect. So this is what it is. Okay. So now, all right. So with this, let's move. So here again, we have discussed this already. Large surface of Mercury was photographed, and as a result of this, the surface being photographed, we could figure out about the cratering on the surface of Mercury. Okay. Now, let's take a look at our second question now. Okay. We have come to a point where we are now ready to solve our second question. So you saw our approach with the first question. Okay. Try to apply this approach. Spend a little bit time. I know we have time constraint here. 2 minutes, you'll have to do all these steps, but at least try to spend some time with the original sentence, trying to figure out the meaning of the sentence, and then go about looking at the answer choices. Okay. So here we go. This is our second question, and same drill, 2 minutes. You will be, the link is already on the chat box. So click on that link. Go solve this question, come back within 2 minutes, and I'll start the discussion. Your time starts now. I request all the participants not to put their responses in the chat box, please, because that kind of skews the responses because it is visible to everybody. That's why we created Microsoft Forms, so that we get the accurate understanding of your performance. So please do not post your answers on chat box. Thank you. Sorry, I guess I just kind of got logged out of the session for some time. I'm back in here again. Let's resume. All right. So let's take a look at this sentence now. First, the same drill, we will first take a look at the meaning of this sentence. So the sentence says, astronomers have uncovered evidence. Okay, so this sentence is talking about some evidence that have been uncovered. Moving on, what is that? What is that evidence? That a star that was bright as the full moon exploding into view 340,000 years ago, emitting dazzling radiation that could have disrupted Earth's protective ozone layer and sunburned our Stone Age ancestors. So this breakup of the sentence that you see, this is how we read a complex sentence. When a sentence is so long and it has a lot of information going on, we break them down into smaller chunks and we handle each and every part at one time. And that's how we process information to extract the intended logical meaning of the sentence. So, from this sentence, what we can gather is that astronomers have found some evidence about a particular star. What is that evidence? What is that information? The information is that this star was as bright as the full moon. And this star exploded into view some numbers of years ago. And when it exploded, it emitted or it gave out dazzling radiation. And then then the author says that this could have been, there is a possibility that this radiation disrupted the protective ozone layer of Earth, and by doing so, it sunburned our Stone Age ancestors. So this is the overall meaning that we get from the sentences. And mind you, we did that step by step by looking at each and every portion of the sentence individually and then stitching them up together to understand the entire story, as I call it. Okay, so the way the sentence is written, it's not very logical. Why it is not very logical? Because the way the sentence is written, and let me quickly bring in my pen, the way the sentence is written, we see this modifier over here, exploding. It's a verb ing modifier. And there is a noun before that, the full moon. And there is no comma between the full moon exploding, right? So we understand that the full, what the author is saying, that it is the full moon that exploded into view 340,000 years ago. This meaning does not make sense. It doesn't make sense at all because it is not the full moon that exploded into view, and the explosion of the full moon radiated or emitted radiation, and that possibly disrupted the ozone layer and sunburned our Stone Age ancestors. No, definitely not. So, although we understand the overall what the author is trying to say, but the specifics of this sentence is not very clear. So what do? We, at this point in time, when the original sentence does not present logical meaning very, very clearly, unlike our first sentence that we saw, right? Then what do? We take an extra step to infer the logical intended meaning. And trust me, this step can be done on every single sentence, because we say that, okay, spend your time with the original sentence, because the original sentence is the only basis to understand the logical intended meaning, right? But what if the original sentence does not present the logical meaning? Then what do? This is what we do. We take an extra step and we try to infer the intended logical meaning from the given context of the sentence. So, from the context of the sentence, as we have already mentioned here, it can be, we are all logical people. We can put 2 plus 2 together. And by doing so, we understand that what is this evidence all about? This evidence is all about this particular star. So every information in this star, in this sentence is about the star. So it is the star which was which was as bright as the full moon, and it is the star that exploded into view, and that explosion led to emitting radiation, and then this radiation possibly sunburned our Stone Age ancestors. Okay, so even when the sentence was not giving us the intended meaning, the logical meaning, because it said that the full moon exploded in the view, we still could infer or extract the logical intended meaning from the given information in the sentence. So if I move on from here and take a look at the answer choices, we know that choice A is definitely wrong, because here the verb ing modifier exploding is incorrectly modifying the preceding noun full moon. Here, what error do we see? It does not make sense. It just does not make sense to say that the full moon exploded. So definitely the modifier has not been used in the correct manner. So choice A is wrong. Choice B is indeed the correct answer. Why? What has happened here is that also, so this exploding has been turned into exploded, the verb, and this verb was actually missing for this subject over here also. That a star that was as bright as the full moon, actually if you read that part, there is no verb for this subject over here. So that was another glaring error in choice A. So just by turning this exploding into the verb exploded, we take care of both these errors. Now star has the verb exploded also, and the sentence presents the logical intended meaning. It is the star which was as bright as the full moon exploded into view so many years ago. And then we have comma plus verb ing modifier over here, which has been placed after a clause. A star exploded into the view so many years ago. And as a result of this explosion, it emitted dazzling radiation. So here, comma plus verb ing modifier has been used to present the result of the modified action, which is exploded. The star exploded, and as a result, it emitted dazzling radiation. So choice B indeed is the correct answer. Let me quickly take a look at the performance here. And most of you have done, okay. All right. Okay, you guys did pretty well over here. So, right, let's take a look at choice C. Choice C again it has a lot of errors in this sentence, but once again, if we concentrate on the verb ing modifier errors, it repeats the same error that we saw in choice A. Exploding once again is talking about full moon, which is definitely not the correct meaning. Okay, so choice C is again incorrect. Also, evidence of star is not correct here. And then we have a structural issue also in choice C. It says evidence of a star that was as bright as the full moon and that it emitted So these two structures that you see here, they are not even correct. Okay, because the parallelism is totally off. Well, the first that has been used as a modifier that talks about a star, but the second that is really the connector, because we have a subject after that, it emitted. So that's an error over there. So yes, choice C, apart from the modification error that we found in choice A, it has other errors as well. Let's take a look at choice D. Again, wrong because of star. Of a star is bright as the full moon exploding into view. If you really look into the structure of this sentence, which is there on your screen, you can look at that. Astronomers have uncovered evidence of a star. So what do we say? A comma plus verb ing modifies the preceding clause, right? Now, in this case, what is the preceding clause? Astronomers have uncovered evidence of a star. So, because there is no verb for a star, because it has not been used as a subject now, so exploding and emitting actually ends up illogically modifying the preceding clause, astronomers have uncovered, as if astronomers have uncovered certain evidence, and as a result, they have exploded into view and they have emitted dazzling radiation. Definitely, totally illogical, absolutely illogical, and hence choice D is incorrect. Choice E. Choice E is also incorrect because it says of a star, of course, is a wrong. Evidence of a star. In this context, this idiom does not work. I'm not saying that evidence of is always incorrect. No, that's not the case. But what happens when you use evidence of? We saw the repercussion of it in choice D, how exploding and emitting goes back to the preceding clause, which is astronomers have uncovered. Okay, so what is this evidence? This evidence is that a star that was bright, it exploded, and so on and so forth. But in the context of this sentence, evidence of a star does not work. Okay, because the change in the structure changes the function of all the entities that have been used after that. So of a star is wrong in this sentence. As bright as the full moon that exploded. Now choice E and choice A, with the usage of full moon exploding or the full moon that exploded, in both the cases, we have this noun modifier modifying the preceding noun, which is full moon, and we have already seen that this modification is absolutely incorrect. Okay. Also, choice E says that it is the full moon that emitted the dazzling radiation, which is again incorrect. So it's only choice B that is the correct answer. And frankly, if you apply the GMAT 3-step process, because we work so thoroughly with the original sentence, understanding the meaning, identifying the grammatical errors, and even take an extra step to understand that what can I change in this, how can I rectify this error, I already get an idea as to what my correct structure should look like. And that's the framework that we use to reject incorrect answer choices. And then the answer choice analysis becomes really a cakewalk. So we need to have this scientific approach, this unified scientific approach, just one approach to apply on all the official questions to get to the correct answer. Okay. So I see that a few of you did choose choice E. But if you rejected choice A, because that's the only error in choice A, that full moon exploding, it is the full moon that exploded in the view. If you could identify that error in choice A, you should have rejected choice E as well, because it does say the same thing. Structural difference, but again, both are noun modifiers, both do the same thing, both present the same meaning. All right. So you should be cognizant of when the structural change leads to meaning change and when it does not. Okay, here it does not. In this sentence, between A and E, full moon exploding, full moon that exploded, the meaning doesn't change. But in our first question, we saw that how to revealed and reveal, they all change the meaning, right? So we have to be cognizant of these things. Well, it's not an extra step that you need to do, but if you are thorough with what you're looking for, if you know that what entities, what role these entities play, you will be very clear of these. Okay, so with this, we have come halfway through our session, and here it's the time to take a break and look at the takeaway. So both these sentences tell us that we must not stay on the surface of the sentence. What does it mean? Don't take the sentence on its face value. That okay, uh, or or I just stop at reading the original sentence and identifying the errors. No, if the sentence is presenting the clear meaning, as we saw in choice in question 1, we are good. That's a good thing. We only have to correct the sentence for the grammatical error. But if you come across a sentence that does not present the logical meaning from the way it has been written, at that point in time, you need to dig deeper into the meaning, right? What you need to do, you need to break the sentence down, take the logical chunks, try to put them together like you would put a puzzle piece. You know, in when you do a puzzle, you match that which visual logically connects with the other visual piece that you have in you have it in hand, and then you go about placing them in the very same way. When you get a sentence which does not present logical meaning, you break it down like those small puzzle pieces, and you take one of them at a time, and you start connecting them logically. Mind you, all of us here are logical people. If given a context, we apply the logic and do not leave it till we come to answer choices. No, that's the wrong approach. What we need to do at this point in time itself is that we take those logical chunks and we try to put them logically to understand that what the sentence can mean, what will be the intended logical meaning of this sentence. So that's a step that we need to do to understand what the author intends to convey. Okay, so meaning is the key to ace GMAT. GMAT SC. Meaning is the key to ace GMAT SC, the logic that trumps everything. Now, till now, we were at the very micro level, right? Why? Because we were focusing on what? Only the verb ing modifiers, which is the subset of modifiers. Modifiers comes under sentence correction section. Sentence correction sentence is one of the categories under the verbal section, and verbal section is just one part of our GMAT. So our bigger picture is GMAT, and when we go through that categorizations, the levels of categorizations, that's when we reach modify. So we were at the micro level. Now I'm zooming you out to the macro level. You've started your GMAT journey. You have decided a goal for yourself, right? Your target score is your goal, right? And you've embarked on this journey of reaching that goal. Now, once you start your journey, you go through these different preparation phases. First, you decide, how to prepare and stuff like that. You decide on your material and all of that. And then you decide whether to do quant first or whether to do verbal first. In quant also, we have certain subcategories. In verbal also, we have 3 categories. And then when you come to SC, we have so many concepts to learn. So you begin with that. So what happens is that when you get into the details of the contents of these various categories in GMAT, you kind of get lost in that journey as to, maybe after a month or after a few days of your preparation, you really feel, hey, where do I stand? I mean, am I even at the right path of reaching my goal that I have? So basically, you are on this journey towards your target goal, which but you are somewhere in between. You know your destination, but you do not have the GPS, or there are no road signs on the path that you are on, right? So our study plan is the GPS for you to figure out, to chart out that very clear path that you need to take in your GMAT journey to reach your target goal. Now, so eGMAT is not only about giving you the contents to score that to score your target score. It is also about guiding you through the right path to reach that score. Now, all of you, I'm sure, are at different points in your preparation. Some of you have finished some part of it. Maybe you are done with the quant, you're only doing with verbal. In verbal, maybe some of you are very comfortable with CR and RC, maybe you're a little bit wobbly in SC. So, all of you are at different points in your preparation. So, but all of you have decided your goals. So how far are you from your goal? Do you have a proper path charted out for you? If not, study plan is the way to go about it. So click on that schedule button and get onto that one-on-one mentoring that helps you not only figure out your path to that goal, but it also provides you with milestones. We do take pit stops, right, to reach to cover a long journey, because we need to understand how much we have covered, how far we need to go, how long will it take. Also in GPS, you have a start point and you have an end point then, right? And then you put in your mode of transportation. If you're walking, of course, you're going to take longer time. If you're taking a car, you'll take slightly lesser. If you're taking a flight, probably you'll reach your destination faster, right? So this study plan will help you reach your destination and eval with the velocity, according to your velocity, from the information from where you are and how much time do you have to get to your GMAT. Okay, so do that. Our experts will help you identify your milestones or set those milestones and help you achieve them. It will give you precise estimates as to how long will you, where you are in your SC understanding or CR understanding or quant understanding, how much effort you need to put in to master that particular section, when you can move on to the next section, so on and so forth. And then every time that you are preparing for a particular section, you keep getting feedback, you get to track your improvement, so that you feel confidence about, yes, I am on the right path, I'm making that progress towards my goal. So that's what the study plan does. So make sure that you click on that button. When you do so, what happens is that it takes you on a page like this where you have different tiles. Now, all these tiles talk about a specific problem area pertinent to a student. Now, we've been in the industry for more than 10 years now, right? Or almost 10 years. Yes, actually more than 10 years. So in these 10 years, we have almost come about all sorts of stumbling points that a student face in his or her journey of GMAT preparation, right? So when you go to this, you can identify your problem area as to which is your problem area. You click on that pertinent problem that you are facing. When you click on that button, a page opens up like this, and over here we have real case scenarios. These are real students who were in the same shoes as you are in today, but what solutions did they get from our experts? How did they work on it? And what results did they get by this one-on-one mentoring by eGMAT experts? And how it helped them achieve where they wanted to go. So definitely make use of this. At the bottom of the page, you will see help me reach my target score. When you click on that particular link, a page opens up where you can actually book a call time with the mentors at eGMAT. This will be your time to tell about your GMAT journey to our mentors, who will help you chart your path and show you the correct way of going about your GMAT preparation. Please do not forget to fill up this form. It is very, very essential that you fill all the required fields here so that we can connect you to the correct mentor according to your personal need. We will connect you to the mentor who specializes in the kind of guidance that you personally require. So it's very custom made in a way. Every student comes with their own inputs. They have their own requirements. They have their own requirements basically, and our mentors will work with you on your requirements, helping you through your journey of GMAT. So make sure that you make use of this facility provided by eGMAT. That so again, we are not one-stop solution for your GMAT prep, but also to show you the path to achieve your target goal. All right. So this was for those who are not eGMAT students yet, but those who are eGMAT student, they are pretty much aware of the drill. You should have your personalized study plan, and you should be able to understand your study plan as well. And also make sure that you continue to do your onboarding sessions where you meet the experts one-on-one. They are the ones who are tracing your progress at every step. So make sure that you keep getting that feedback from them and get all the help that you can get from them to move on to this path. I mean, if you go to GMAT Club reviews, you will find wonderful debriefs and wonderful reviews about our strategy team experts. They just do phenomenal job in guiding students according to their need as to where they stand today in achieve their goal. So make sure that you make use of it. All right, with this, once again, I'm trying to remind you that we have a very good free trial course out there. It's free. You don't have to pay anything. It's not that you're enrolling into the course. Make sure that you at least go try out these lessons and see for yourself what eGMAT has to provide to you, so that you can make that decision that you're ready to come on board and become the part of the eGMAT family. So yeah, at least try it for sure. With this, I would also like to announce the upcoming free webinars on our platform, e-gmat.com. On our platform, these are our webinars. This Saturday, we have GMAT strategy webinar. Everything that you need to understand about how to go about your exams. This is nothing subject matter related. Of course, it is strategy because you need that correct exam temperament to sit through an exam, which is so long with so many sections, right? So, yep, everything that you need to understand about the strategy. This is this Saturday. So definitely register, click on that tab. The link is on the chat box. Also, on Sunday, we have GMAT Algebra webinar, one of the most liked webinars in our platform. So again, the link is on the chat box. Click on the same to register yourself for these webinars. Okay, so these are on our platform. All right, so with this, I think let's get back to the last two questions that I promised I would do 4 questions with you. We are done with 2. Let's come back again. Let's zoom in to our micro level where we get into the specification of verb-ing modifier. And again, let's quickly recap verb-ing modifiers, noun or action modifiers, how we will understand that. We will understand that by focusing on the meaning of the sentence. So do not let that focus waver anywhere. Okay, make sure that you extract the intended logical meaning of the sentence to understand what's going on in the sentence. Okay, so with that, here comes on your screen the question, and the form link is ready on the chat box. So go ahead. 2 minutes. I'll see you in 2 minutes. All the best. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so the results are with me. I see that you guys have done pretty good with this one. So, good job. Okay, so now let's take a look at the meaning of this sentence, and then we will get into the answer choice analysis. So first thing first, the meaning. All right. Butterflies come in more than 1700 species. Very simple to understand, nothing too complicated. Next part of the sentence says, displaying a wing pattern unique to each one. Okay. So, of course, we are talking about 17,000 species of butterfly, and then we have comma plus verb ing modifier that has been placed after a clause. So, it has been used as a comma plus verb ing modifier, right? So when we have a comma plus verb ing modifier, it has three functions. It presents the logical description of the clause. It presents the how aspect. It presents the result. Now, does it make sense to say that this comma plus verb ing modifier is presenting the how aspect? Most definitely not. It does not, right? It's not that butterflies come in 17,000 species by displaying a wing pattern unique to each one. Now, another thing to understand here is that it is not that every single butterfly displays a unique pattern, right? It is from the context, we understand that every species has a unique wing design. But in any way, the way the sentence is written, it's not logical because the comma plus verb ing modifier is not presenting the how aspect. Is it presenting the result? No, definitely not. Just because they come in 1700 species, that's why they display a unique wing pattern? Definitely not. This cause and effect also does not make sense. Now, we may be inclined to think that probably it is presenting that logical description that yes, butterflies come in more than 1700 species, and so they display a wing pattern, and whatever the logical description of the preceding clause, that okay, so yeah, they display wing pattern unique to each one. But again, if we go by that meaning, as I was telling you, in that case, what the sentence will say, that every butterfly presents a unique wing pattern. That is not what the sentence is trying to say. So overall, the use of the comma plus verb ing modifier is absolutely incorrect here, and we can understand because we can understand that because the sentence does not present the logical intended meaning. Okay, so what we need to do is, again, we need to take that extra step. We need to try to extract the intended logical meaning from the sentence. And how do we do so? Let's understand. From the context of the sentence is, by the way, talking about 1700 species, or let's say more than 1700 species, right? This is what it's talking about. Oh my. Okay, so it's talking about more than 17,000 species. So when it's talking about more than 17,000 species, again, putting 2 plus 2 together, extracting all the logical information from the sentence, we can understand that every species display a unique wing design. So the sentence must be written in such a way so that this particular action, displaying a unique wing pattern, should associate only with the species and not with the entire clause. So here we have an example of a sentence where the comma plus verb ing modifier, it is illogical. It does not give logical meaning, and it does not even make sense with the subject of the with the subject of the modified action. Okay, so in both these grounds, the sentence is illogical. Again, even if we only try to understand from the meaning perspective of it, we know that this sentence does not make sense. So, with this understanding, we are only working in choice A right now. We've identified the meaning issue. We identified why that meaning issue has cropped up in this sentence because of the incorrect usage of the comma plus verb ing modifier. So we need to change that. We cannot have comma plus verb ing modifier in this sentence, right? So with this understanding in our mind, let's move on and let's take a look at the sentence. So choice A is wrong for the usage of comma plus verb ing modifier. Okay. Choice B again is incorrect for the very same reason, because it again says displaying a unique wing pattern in each. Okay. So comma plus verb ing again incorrect in choice B. Choice C. Choice C now changes the structure of the sentence, and hence the meaning of the sentence is also altered here. Why? Now it does not use comma plus verb ing modifier. It uses each uniquely described. So this each, the usage of this each is actually correct, because now it talks about more than 1700 species. So this part is fine in this sentence, each uniquely displaying a wing pattern. What's wrong with choice C is that very craftily the test maker changed the adjective unique, which was talking about wing pattern, to adverb uniquely, which now talks about the action displaying, and hence distorts the intended meaning of the sentence. That's the problem that we see with choice. That's the problem that we see with choice C. Choice D is the correct answer. Each of which, again, this expression over here, each of which talks about more than 1700 species, each of which displays a unique wing pattern. This is the meaning that we wanted, because we already did all the analysis in the meaning analysis phase itself. So we know that yes, choice D is the one that presents the correct meaning. Choice E again repeats the same error that we saw in choice C. It again plays with the word unique, turns an adjective into adverb to distort the intended meaning, right? So I would say this was fairly simple, but again, you need that understanding of the meaning of the sentence. And how did we understand that the meaning is not right? The meaning is not right because the grammar used in the sentence is all wrong. Okay, because comma plus verb ing modifier is not right in this sentence. Okay, so with this, let's move on to the last question. And this is my absolute favorite sentence, because I think that, it really will show you how important logic is in GMAT SC. So if these three sentences have fallen short of convincing you that if you focus on the meaning, you can ace GMAT SC, this sentence will convince you thoroughly, because it is such a logical sentence and you really have to, think logically to get to the correct answer. So do that. I'm again telling you, put your logical hats on and be very diligent with your with this sentence. Okay, so here I show the question on the screen, and the form link is already ready on the chat, so go about it. 2 minutes. I'll see you in 2 minutes. All right. So with this, let's wind this one up in last 5 seconds. If you're still responding, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. So I saw the results. Most of you did go with choice A. Nobody chose choice D and chose choice E, so that's good. So basically the tussle is between A and B, which is generally the case. So let's understand what's going on with this sentence. And as I told you, that it's very logical sentence. So you have to understand the logic of this sentence. Anyway, let's understand the same here. About 5 million acres in the United States have been invaded by leafy spurge. So again, the simple says that most part of United States have been invaded or have been covered by something called leafy spurge. Then the author goes on to explain to us what this leafy spurge is. This leafy spurge is a herbaceous plant from Eurasia with milky sap. So what contains this milky sap? This herbaceous plant. Of course, it does not make any sense to say that it is the Eurasia that contains milky sap. Definitely not. It is the herbaceous plant which is equal to leafy spurge that contains the milky sap. And so that gives mouth sores to cattle. Okay, so this milky sap gives mouth sores to cattle, which is good. And then we have displacing grasses and other cattle food. Okay, so something displaces grasses and other cattle food, and something else is also happening in the sentence, that is rendering rangeland worthless. Rangeland means um, the grazing land, the grazing pastures, they become useless. Okay, so with this, let's try to understand the meaning of what's going on, what's happening in this sentence. So what we see here is that, and let me quickly activate my pen here. We again see the usage of comma plus verb ing modifiers, not one but two. This is our first comma plus verb ing modifier. This is our second comma plus verb ing modifier. Okay. These two modifiers are placed right after this clause that gives mouth sores to cattle. Now, the way the last part of the sentence is written, it says that because milky sap gives mouth sores to cattle, milky sap displaces grasses and other cattle food, and they also render, or it also renders rangeland worthless. Now, really, take a step back and think. Does it really make sense to say that it is the milky sap that displaces grasses and other cattle food? No, it's absolutely logical to say that. From the context of the sentence, grasses, cattle food, they are a kind of vegetation. The another vegetation that the sentence is talking about is the leafy spurge. So, and we already know that about 5 million acres in the United States have already been invaded by leafy spurge. So, when we break this sentence down and try to connect logical pieces together, or trying to connect the pieces logically together, what we get is that it is the leafy spurge that displaces grasses and other cattle food. So this action over here must be connected to herbaceous plant, which is equal to leafy spurge. It is not anything else but leafy spurge that displaces grasses and other cattle food. So definitely the usage of the first comma plus verb ing modifier is incorrect in this sentence. Okay. Now let's take a look at the second modifier over here. Guys, give me 1 second. I'll be back. All right, and I'm back here. So coming back to herbaceous plants. So displacing has to be associated with herbaceous plant. Okay, now let's take a look at rendering rangeland worthless. Now, what is the author telling us? The author is saying that leafy spurge has milky sap. This milky sap gives mouth sores to cattle. Okay. And leafy spurge also displaces grasses and other cattle food, right? So what happens is that if grasses and other cattle food are displaced by by leafy spurge, then the cattle will not eat leafy spurge. Why they will not eat leafy spurge? Because they get mouth sores out of because of eating that leafy spurge, right? Now you may say, how are you saying that leafy spurge gives mouth sores? The sentence clearly says that it is the milky sap that gives mouth sores. My dear friends, this is where we need to think very, very logically. Is leafy spurge exclusively mutual of the milky sap? No, it is not. The leafy spurge contains the milky sap. And that is why when cattle eat leafy spurge, the milky sap is secreted and they get mouth sore. It's not that cattle go about licking milky sap from any other source or from leafy spurge itself, right? So if we say that it is the milky sap that gives mouth sore, or if we say that it is the leafy spurge that gives mouth sore because of the milky sap, both mean the same. Because indeed, eating leafy spurge gives mouth sores to the cattle. So, coming back to the point, it is the leafy spurge that displaces grasses. And because these grasses and cattle food are displaced by leafy spurge, the cattle will not go to those grazing grounds. They will not eat leafy spurge. And that is how these rangeland become useless. They become absolutely useless because now the leafy spurge has displaced all the grasses and cattle food from that ground, and the cattle will not go to eat over there. So the rangeland becomes worthless, right? So we can. I have not even looked at the answer choices. And it is not that in this class, I'm showing you that, oh, I did not look at the answer choices. I'm very familiar with the question. No, when I actually looked at this question, I looked at it this way and I tried to figure out the meaning first, putting the logic in the sentence to understand what this sentence is saying, right? So we take this extra step, we break the sentence into smaller chunks. We find the logical connection of every chunk with each other. And then we decide that, hey, displacing grasses should actually be connected with leafy spurge. And because the grasses get displaced, the rangeland become worthless. So this rangeland becoming worthless is actually the outcome of the grasses being displaced. All right. So with this understanding, we proceed to look at the answer choices. We are looking for an answer choice in which the action of displaces, okay, and let me get my pen quickly over here. So again, talking about the logical meaning, we are looking for an answer choice in which displaces is connected to herbaceous plant. And then rendering would be used as the outcome of displacement of the grasses. Okay. So with this understanding here, this is the logical meaning that we derive from the sentence. Okay. So with this understanding, now let's take a look. So maximum of you chose choice A. I hope you now understand. Now, many of you can say that, hey, parallelism is all fine. Yes, parallelism is all fine between displacing and rendering. But this list is only grammatically parallel. This list does not make sense. Why? Again, because comma plus verb ing displacing does not make sense in presenting the result of giving mouth sores, because it does not, neither giving mouth sore displaces grasses, nor it is milky sap that is displacing the grasses. So it does not make much sense. Okay. Okay, so Satvik, I'm coming to your question because your question is about choice B. So yes, let's see why choice B is the correct answer. So choice B says about 5 million acres of United States have been invaded by leafy spurge. What is leafy spurge? A herbaceous plant from Eurasia with milky sap. Take a look at this part. I would like to draw your attention to the structure of with milky sap. It has been placed between two commas. Okay, it has been placed between two commas. What it means is that that can actually jump over this modifier and associate with a herbaceous plant from Eurasia. So that actually modifies the noun a herbaceous plant in choice B, because look at that, that with milky sap is now between two commas. So that is not associating with milky sap. It is actually associating with the modifier, which is before the milky sap. So now choice B is saying that this herbaceous plant gives mouth sores to cattle, which is absolutely correct. I've already explained that leafy spurge, when eaten, gives mouth sore because of the presence of the milky sap. So these two are not mutually exclusive. So this part of the sentence is right. And it is the herbaceous plant that displaces grasses and other cattle food. So this part, we already knew that we have to look for an answer choice in which herbaceous plant can be associated with the action of displacing. So yes, this is what we have gotten. And then the last part of the sentence remains the same. Comma plus verb ing modifier rendering rangeland worthless. This action is actually the effect of the displacement of the grasses. Because herbaceous plant displace grasses and other cattle food, the rangeland is rendered worthless. They become worthless. That's the outcome of herbaceous plants displacing grasses. So you see how we go about using the logic at every point to to understand the meaning. And once we understand the meaning, we know what grammar to use to present that correct meaning. Okay, so choice B indeed is the correct answer choice. Satvik, I'm still not able to rendering rangeland worthless isn't missing a the. There is no the missing over here, because in the original sentence also we didn't see the. So no, I don't think there is a problem with the missing the in any of the answer choices for that matter. This is absolutely fine, because we are rendering is an action, rendering rangeland worthless. Now it's not talking about a specific rangeland, it's talking about rangeland in general, and that's why we have rendering rangeland worthless. Okay, none of the answer choices use the before rangeland, if that is what your question. Okay, so choice B indeed is the correct answer choice. I again explained this whole thing to you, why it is leafy spurge that gives mouth sores, because milky sap is contained by leafy spurge, and then all the meaning is very, very logical. We did get some responses for choice C, so I'll quickly go over choice C. What's happening in choice C is that if you look at the structure, about 5 million acres in the United States have been invaded by leafy spurge, a herbaceous plant from Eurasia having milky sap that gives mouth sores to cattle and displacing grasses and other cattle food. So we have two verb ing modifiers here, having milky sap, which is talking about the herbaceous plant, which is again leafy spurge, and displacing grasses, which is another verb ing modifier connecting with a herbaceous plant. However, this list looks logical because both of them are verb ing modifiers and both of them modify the same noun entity, a herbaceous plant. But logically, they are not same, or logically uh, they are not parallel, because having milky sap talks about a feature of leafy spurge. It's a feature of leafy spurge that it contains milky sap, whereas leafy spurge displaces grasses is an action that is done by leafy spurge. So we cannot really we cannot we cannot put we cannot make it parallel. A feature cannot be made parallel to an action. So that's the problem in choice C. Another problem in choice C is that we don't know what comma plus rendering is modifying, because it should modify a clause, right? A subject verb pair. But if you go tracing that back, we really don't have it before rendering rangeland worthless. So hence, we do not even have the proper modification for rendering rangeland worthless. So in terms of comma plus verb ing modifier also, choice C stands incorrect. Now, I did not get any responses for choices E and okay, I've gotten a few responses for choice D. So let me quickly go through choice D as to why it is incorrect. Choice D is incorrect because the first error in this sentence is that 5 million acres in the United States does not even have a verb. Now, missing verb is the most blatant error you can find out in GMAT SC sentences. They are right on your face. But yes, in this sentence, because there is so much going on, there are so many layers to this sentence, you might have missed that out. But really, look out. There is no verb for 5 million acres. And if you break the sentence the way we do, you will be able to see that right away. Look at the sentence structure and you will see that there is no verb for about 5 million acres, which is the subject. Okay, another point that we have, another meaning error that's going on with this sentence is that milky sap gives mouth sore. That is okay. This meaning is logical. Milky sap displaces grasses. Again, incorrect meaning. And milky saps renders rangeland worthless. Absolutely wrong. Milky sap neither displaces grasses nor it renders rangeland worthless. So even if that list over there looks grammatical to you with 3 verbs, it is not a logical list, because milky sap does not displace anything. Milky sap does not render rangeland worthless. So choice D is incorrect for this reason. All right. So, I mean, choice E again, misses that verb. Again, and it presents the same meaning error that we saw in choice D. It's just that it does not use that modifier. It uses the verb ing noun modifier, but it presents the same meaning. Again, displacing grasses connects with milky sap, which again is illogical. So choice E is also wrong. So for this question, choice B is the correct answer. But let me tell you, maximum of you went with choice A. So I hope now you understand why choice A is the correct answer. So with this, let's quickly look at the takeaway. You must keep in mind that you should not worry about the grammatical errors in the sentence. You should not worry about the complexity of the sentence, difficult word, complex sentence. Whatever the author wants you to understand is all there in the sentence itself. If you do your due diligence on the original sentence, you will be able to understand what the sentence is trying to say. What portion of the sentence is underlined, even that is absolutely irrelevant to solving a question. Okay? All you need to focus on is the intended logical meaning of the sentence. Just make sure that just Just think that the author who's written this sentence is your friend. It is your duty to be supportive of your friend. Yes, the author may start a sentence with the right intention, with the right notion of presenting the right meaning, but just think he may just get deviated, along the lines of writing the sentence. So you step in over there and you break the sentence down, take all the chunks, you connect them logically and say, hey, my friend, the grammar that you are using to present the meaning is not right. This is what you want to actually convey this. So in order to convey this logic, please use this grammar. Okay, that's what you need to do. You need to step into the shoes of the author and help him correct the sentence. Also, always remember, the answer choice that you are selecting must convey logical meaning, must convey intended logical meaning. If you keep in mind this point, you will not go wrong with GMAT SC. All right. So with this was the last question in our session. I told you we just have 4 questions. So yes, and I mean, I'm good to see your enthusiasm over here, because I see that you are still asking for next question. But yes, this was our last question in the slide. And once again, quickly reminding you, take a good use of our free trial. It is only available till Saturday. You do not want to miss on this opportunity. Once again, a quick reminder about our weekend sessions. This Saturday, we are dealing with GMAT strategy. On Sunday, we are dealing with GMAT algebra. Please register, because you do not want to miss out on this particular webinar, which is one of the most liked webinars on our platform. Also, I spoke to you in length about the personalized study plan. So definitely make sure that you make use of this particular feature that eGMAT provides you. Book a call, get in touch with your personal mentor, and get all the guidance that you require for your GMAT journey. Also, what should be your next step? If verb-ing modifiers today, if you felt a little better about your understanding of the verb-ing modifiers, take a look at the way we teach modifiers. I told you this before, that nobody teaches modifiers the way we not only give you the rules, but we give you the underlying principles behind each and every modifier that is being tested on GMAT SC. And you can and the list of the concepts that we have in our modifiers module, vouches for the same, right? So make sure that you build your conceptual understanding of verb-ing modifiers and come on to our platform, make the best use out of it, learn it the way we do, and also learn this approach that is not going to help you only in the verb-ing questions, but in every single official question. All right. So with this, again, I think you've been a great audience. I had great fun taking this session, and hope to see you soon with a new topic. And I'm sure that you will learn a lot with us. So thanks again for attending the session. We'll see you very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.